Wait a second, if Game Freak wants to sell more games, they need to start listening to the fans and throw their history out the door. That's right, kids. Listen to the vocal minority of people that don't even understand Pokemon at all, and that's what Game Freak needs to win. Just throw everything that's made them successful out the door, and then the next Pokemon games will be good. It's not like Pokemon Sun and Moon sold more copies and was like one of the best-selling 3DS games of all time. Nope. That has nothing to do with it. I found this article on The Gamer, 15 reasons Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon will be terrible. Now, this article is coming from Joshua Olivieri on June 6th, and it really embodies everything I hate about games press right now. This isn't games journalism. There's nothing journalistic about it. We got the Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon teaser trailer. Very short trailer with almost no information, yet the whole community, or a lot of the community, just gets outraged over it for absolutely no reason. And then this guy decides to hate bait an article out of it. We got 15 reasons why I know it's already a sucky game, even though we know absolutely nothing about it. Then it gets a moderate amount of shares. Now, one thing caught my eye, that in the side right here you can see 15 franchises Nintendo needs to let die. Guess what? It's already our good friend Joshua, and he put Legend of Zelda on the list. Right after Breath of the Wild is one of the best Legend of Zelda games that we've had, but nah, he decided let's get some more hate bait out of here. And then I found this on Twitter, so it really kind of captures the essence of what's going on with Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. All the people that wanted Pokemon Stars, Pokemon Sun and Moon, or Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, is exactly what we're getting in Pokemon Stars, but now people are just like, ooh, it's so unoriginal, we're not getting anything new. We don't know what's going to happen in the game. Everyone acts like they know exactly what's happening in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, even though nobody knows how the games are actually going to play out. So I went through the first couple parts of this list. It's like running on Pokemon Sun and Moon's engine. So already starting the list off with some garbage. I mean, look at this first line. As a game franchise grows, each installment should have improvements over the last one. The first of these is a graphical upgrade. So we already know he's one of those guys that puts graphics over gameplay. And then I don't understand this as well. That's not to say that Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon look terrible visually. There's just no improvement to entice more people to get the games. Graphics shouldn't be like the biggest enticement, especially when it comes to a Pokemon game. That Sun and Moon is the best handheld Pokemon game visually that we've had so far, and it looks pretty good. Also, did this guy not watch? It feels like the more I read this list, the more he didn't even watch the teaser trailer, because it looks like it still managed to squeeze a visual upgrade in there. And we've had this before. Platinum version, it wasn't like this major graphics overhaul. It still ran on the Diamond Pearl engine. That game did fine. Black and White 2, compared to Black and White, looks about the same. Still did fine. Oh, number 14 though, still on the 3DS. I mean, okay, so yeah, it's like no secret that 3DS is running on dated hardware and it limits the visual presentation of the games that it can have. But that doesn't really matter because Pokemon, I mean, have you seen Monster Hunter? Monster Hunter is a crazy looking game on the 3DS. Super Smash Bros. 4, that still did very well for the 3DS as well. So I mean, I don't see the 3DS as this like major hindering factor. I don't really understand the outrage that people have over Pokemon Ultra Sun and Moon not being on the Switch. Yes, I wanted it to be on the Switch, but I'm not offended that the next Pokemon game isn't going to be on the Switch. That historically, Pokemon hasn't been an early adopter of consoles, and when you think about it, if you're trying to get more people to buy a game, you're going to sell it on the console that has sold more. Now, I understand you could do a split release, but with competitive side of Pokemon, doing cross-platform like that could get a little too complicated, and we're just going to wait and see what happens in the future. Now, say 2 years from now, we don't have a Pokemon game on the Switch. Yeah, now I can start to understand those arguments, but right now, it's still early for the Switch, and Pokemon Sun and Moon is trying to continue on the same platform that it has still been on, so I don't understand how that's a bad thing. No new Pokemon. That hasn't been confirmed, and technically, I mean, Solgaleo and Lunala, those alternate forms, those hint at new something, and we don't even know anything about the mechanics. But alright, no new Pokemon in a sequel version. So, you hear that, guys? Since Black and White 2, that didn't have any new Pokemon, so that game was trash. Platinum version, that didn't have Emerald version. No, every sequel version that has not introduced new Pokemon are terrible, according to this guy. I understand that there weren't a lot of Pokemon introduced in the region, but I mean, we still have a lot of opportunity for potentially more Alola forms, maybe Megas if we're getting crazy. We don't know anything about this game, which is why I find this article a complete disgrace to games journalism as well as the Pokemon community. That's like outrage began before the Pokemon Direct even ended, and we still don't know anything about this game, and there's been so much negativity out there. uninteresting story. Okay, so now I'm convinced that this guy didn't even watch the Pokemon Direct, because Junichi Masuda says that it's going to be an alternate story to Pokemon Sun and Moon, and the Pokemon Sun and Moon story was pretty good to begin with. And that's why I don't understand this article at all, because if you read through it, very seldom does Game Freak create interesting stories from the Pokemon series. However, Sun and Moon proved that they still had it in them. Yeah, I thought the Sun and Moon story was good too, so why is it going to be uninteresting when we actually have more explanation? We have Necrozma, we might figure out what's going on with Moan, potentially more going on with the Aether Foundation Ultra Beast, but no. Unfortunately, traveling through the same region again will only make it more difficult for them to create a unique story. Game Freak stated in their announcement that Ultra Sun Ultra Moon would have a different story than the predecessors, but that doesn't mean that'll be good. What? This hurts my head. So, it's going to be a different story. Pokemon Sun and Moon was already good. We know nothing else about the game, but it's going to be an uninteresting story because of it. Number 11, not enough new content. Just like with everything else on the list, we don't know any of the information. What if they bring back the player search system? What if they expand upon the Festival Plaza? Yes, the Festival Plaza flopped, the Pokepelago flopped as well, but we still have a new game coming out. There could be more features, you know, the battle tree starts to get kind of crazy, boring, and grinding. We understand that the late game of Pokemon Sun and Moon kind of fell through, but maybe Game Freak can use that as a learning experience to make Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon better. But exactly, it's going to be the same. There could very well end up being a painful lack of new content. Therefore, bad. Number 10, won't bring over Pokemon Sun and Moon players. What does that have to do with the game being terrible? That if they don't want to buy... Like, that's what's happened with, again, every other Pokemon game. So, it looks like this guy doesn't understand the history of Pokemon game releases, as well as not understanding that we don't have any information about the game yet. You know, he's just jumping on this article a little too soon, and not bring over Pokemon Sun and Moon players. I mean... The game kind of died because of all the hacking and cheating going on, as well as a lot of other faults with the game, but that doesn't guarantee we're having any of that with Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, which is why I'm making this video, because the outrage going on is absolute crap. That, okay, you're not giving the next game a chance because the previous game was bad, that's a reason to give the next game more of a chance, to hope that it's going to fix all the issues and then be that solid Pokemon experience. And even then, Pokemon Sun and Moon started off very strong. I just don't know what happened. And then it's just like now negativity is stacking on negativity. We don't need that now in the Pokemon community. Number 9, roaming legendaries. One of the easiest way to bring in legendary Pokemon from past is let them roam around in a new region. Heart Gold, Soul Silver did it, Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire did it. There's no reason to believe that Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon won't do it either. Man, this guy just... Is he working for Game Freak? Does his uncle work at Game Freak? He seems like he knows everything about the new game before it even comes out. Like, up here, he said that we know it's going to be the same features. You know, there's no doubt that a lot of the same content from Sun and Moon will be making a reappearance, but it has him worried. So we've seen all of these trends before, and there we go. Granted, they could instead decide to program them into the game to have a bigger impact on the story or post-game content. However, knowing Game Freak, that likely won't be the case. Roaming legendaries are fun and all, but it's easy to know when there's too many of them. People get burnt out very quickly and have no motivation to catch them all through this method. I've been traveling to a spot where legendary Pokemon sat and then battling it to catch it or knock it out. You mean, like what we had in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Let them roam around. Heart Gold, Soul Silver did it, Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire did it. But they sat there in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, and the Ultra Beast. Like, the Ultra Beasts were roughly in the same spot. They didn't even have to chase them. It wasn't just sitting there. You just ran in a circle in the patch of grass, and then it would eventually show up. So, and then the Tapus. Oh, we have the stationary legendary Pokemon. I'm pretty sure now... Okay, so it's gone from me being sure that this guy hasn't even watched the Pokemon Direct, to not understand the history of Pokemon, to maybe not even playing Pokemon games. And then he's talking about people get burned out about it quickly. No, people get burned out because they just hack into oblivion and then nothing feels like an accomplishment anymore. Only new forms. Because you know that it's only new forms. I guess we can just start... No partner Pokemon! How do we... Like, from what we've seen in the trailer so far, we have one scene, and that's leaving our house, potentially to start our journey. So we don't know if there's not going to be any partner Pokemon. And also, I'm okay if we get it or if we don't. Now, it seems like there's a heavy suggestion from the data mines of Pokemon Sun and Moon that there could be Pokemon following you around, but also, it's what keeps Heart Gold and Soul Silver unique. That, you know, there's some gimmicks to every game. Then the 3rd generation, those had features that are not in any other game. Same with the 4th generation, 5th generation, and so on. And because of that, you know, you need to have a signature for that game. Pokemon following you is what keeps Heart Gold and Soul Silver so special, and why you can always keep coming back to those games instead of wanting the features in the next one. While this is yet to be confirmed or denied, I believe they will not bring back partner Pokemon from Heart Gold and Soul Silver. And because he thinks that, it's going to be terrible. Seems it was left out due to hardware restrictions. Or maybe they wanted a reason to entice players into Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. Apparently the most unenticing game ever. Doesn't bode well for the future. So the game after Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon is one of the 15 reasons why Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon will be terrible. Got it. First, Game Freak is getting their smaller announcement out of the way so it can bring the big guns for E3. This guy has no understanding of Pokemon or Game Freak. Game Freak has never made a massive announcement at E3 that it's usually beaten out by Korokoro, that Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. All the big information for Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire for E3 was in the Korokoro, and also the Pokemon Company drops trailers instead. Game Freak knows they don't need E3 to sell their games. That's where Nintendo tries to outdo Pokemon, or at least create games, create hype that competes with Pokemon, because Pokemon is always good. I don't get it. It's getting their smaller announcements out of the way so they can bring the big guns to E3 this year. Nintendo has been going that route, so it makes sense they bring Game Freak on board as well. But we don't know anything about the game. For all we know, there could be a massive news announcement that shakes everything, like Pokemon Sun and Moon. Was this guy around for Pokemon Sun and Moon even? That the hype around the news releases for Pokemon Sun and Moon was some of the most that we've ever seen out of the Pokemon community ever. So how is it that Game Freak's running out of ideas and hype? It's definitely happened. Defied expectations negatively. Oh, hey, that goes back to this post right here. We didn't get stars, and people were being unrealistic about a Diamond Pearl remake. That it's way too soon. It was way too soon to go Generation Remake, that we needed a sequel version in there somewhere because we haven't had one for a while. And also, you know, we're still going to get the Diamond Pearl remake potentially a year from now, potentially 2 years from now. So that's no reason to be mad at Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. The content is still coming. And because it's the same exact game as Stars, you know, they could just name Pokemon Stars 1 and Pokemon Stars 2, and people wouldn't have been as upset about it. So I don't know, like, that's kind of silly right there. Holiday release. Okay. While having a holiday release in itself is not a bad thing, could serve to harm Game Freak rather than help them this time around. Understanding that Nintendo fans are craving new Switch games at the moment, there's only a handful of titles to sink our teeth into, so there's a lot of excitement for upcoming games like Super Mario Odyssey. But that's going to be releasing in November, same month as Ultra Sun and Moon. So because Mario Odyssey is coming out, that's why Pokemon Sun and Moon will suck. I mean, it could be 15 reasons why Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon might have a weak launch, but it has nothing to do with the actual content of the game. Well, if it turns out that Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon are better than Mario Odyssey, holy crap, yeah, that 15 reasons, just, I don't even know what to say. Following up after a Pokken Tournament trailer for the teaser is not kid marketing as far as I'm concerned. And Pokemon, they've been doing a really good job keeping the audience and keeping the marketing for that older generation of players, for that older fan base. We've seen this with Pokemon Go. We've seen this with Alola Pokemon. So yeah, sure, there's a lot of like dumbed down kids things in Pokemon, but that always happens, and we still get good information. Mostly referring to the first trailer shown off the Direct this morning. The trailer itself was for Pokemon DX. Some older kid was practicing his moves so he could take his brother on in the end. While that happens, there's a few kids in the background playing Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. This communicates an interesting message from the Game Freak. So now this guy thinks he knows psychology and film theory. Whoa. That because kids are in the background playing the handheld game and the older kids are playing the Switch game, that shows that Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon will only be for the kids this time around. If that's it, then it's a serious problem. Writing off Sun and Moon hype, and then nothing new. Oh, there it is, guys. Because we didn't see any revolution with Heart Gold, Soul Silver. You know, it wasn't that Pokemon X and Y, Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, those didn't get the people hype. That Pokemon's just the same formula every single time. I hate this argument. I thought this argument died back in like the 4th generation or the 5th generation. Haven't heard about it as much recently, but here we go. We have these... Like, you can just tell this guy's not a fan of Pokemon. It seems like he's read some news from the outside and decided, yeah, I'm going to take the disgruntled Pokemon fans, I'm going to get those clicks off of them, and then I'm just going to talk nonsense for 15 reasons. There we go, guys. That's the breakdown of this. So, yeah, pretty much stay out of the negativity. I'm tired of seeing it, people not giving Pokemon a chance, people just letting the community fall apart, letting the game die out. I mean, I've already done a lot of rants about this, you know, how hacking has ruined the community. There's also been a lot of other things wrong with what's going on with Pokemon recently, but overall, I just don't understand why people are being so toxic about it when there's so much opportunity. We have no reason to think that this won't be a good Pokemon game so far, so I'd rather stay on the optimistic side for one of my favorite franchises. I feel that everyone else should as well. So there we go. Hope you all enjoyed the video. Hope you all have a nice day. Wait a second. If Game Freak wants to sell more games, they need to start listening to the fans and throw their history out the door. That's right, kids. Listen to the vocal minority of people that don't even understand Pokemon at all, and that's what Game Freak needs to win. Just throw everything that's made them successful out the door, and then the next Pokemon games will be good. It's not like Pokemon Sun and Moon sold more copies and was like one of the best-selling 3DS games of all time. Nope, that has nothing to do with it. Alright, so there we go. Hope you all enjoyed the video. Hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.